I have this problem. There's this voice in my head, and it won't go away. I argue with it a lot, but it gets pretty forceful. This voice runs me. Sometimes it's gentle and sweet to ensure that I'll keep listening, but other times the voice is hard and full of rage, and always the voice heaps on the guilt and the shame. I tell it to shut up sometimes. Sometimes I'm louder than my thoughts, but other times they consume me. Have you ever heard your stomach grumble, but instead of hearing a problem, it sounds like a sweet melody, like music to your ears, because the voice convinced you the hunger means the extra weight will disappear. So you don't call it a disorder, and you definitely don't need help. It's just that pain from lack of food is actually something that feels so good. Maybe that's dark and twisted, but have you ever looked into the mirror and screamed at yourself? Have you ever run so hard and far, far past the point where there's breath in your lungs? Have you ever been so consumed with the voice in your head that a lot of days you just want to be dead? I'm not saying this is me, but have you ever binge ate at midnight trying to compensate for emotional distress and life stresses, so you gorge yourself on food rather than letting your painful situation consume you? Have you ever inhaled a snack that's really more like a meal, or 2 or 3? You know you're full, but you just continue eating because your brain tells you you need to be full. But all you feel is emptiness inside, and no amount of ice cream or fries seems to fill it. Comfort food doesn't really comfort anything, but you don't cry. Instead, you binge to hide your real feelings. Have you ever stuck your finger down your throat to try and rid yourself of the emotions that seem to be choking you? Pain isn't a feeling, it's a coping mechanism, and if I throw up the contents of my stomach, maybe the toxic feelings in my heart will come out with my vomit. Have you ever sat on the bathroom floor, heaving and rocking yourself back and forth? It's not bulimia or words like anorexia. It's not a disorder. It's just one time. Tomorrow I'll eat a full meal. So don't worry about me. Yeah, I'm dropping weight, but don't I look pretty? Because I've been starving for months now. But the voice keeps telling me I've got further to go. The voice in my head argues with every carb I bite into as I chew. It's reminding me of the numbers on the scale, telling me the more that I eat, the less people love me. And I know it's not true. I tell the voice the truth, but somehow my brain doesn't really accept it. Look into the mirror. Do you see the cellulite? Do you see the unflattering curves? Look at the belly rolls. Change out of the fitted into the baggy clothes. Celeste, you're not good enough yet. Maybe you'll be successful if you can run further, if you can fit into a lower size of jeans. Maybe guys will notice you if you just keep losing inches. Maybe your family will give you the praise you've been craving. Pounds keep shaving off the scale. I'm not good enough yet. It's not a problem. It's not a mental illness. I don't have a disorder. I'm just bringing a little order and control to my life. I'm forcing my body to obey me, to love me, to be what I want, to give me some type of power. Because when I run further than I did last week, when my stomach shrinks some more, when my mind goes into auto mode, life seems more bearable. At least for a moment. But the thinner I become, the more stretched my emotional sanity seems to get. Like every inch and pound that leaves is replaced with numbness and anxiety, and it weighs much heavier than I do. It's not a disorder. I keep telling that to all the pain, to the people asking for my workout routine. It's not a disorder. Yet deep in my mind, hidden to the outside spectator, chaos rages on a great battlefield. Anxiety, self-image, obsessiveness and depression, sanity and health all fight for my life, all show up in my desire not to eat. I know I'm losing pounds, but I'm shocked to realize I've also been losing ground. As enemy lines merge further into my thoughts and gain greater control of my decisions, they torment me to cast aside healthy disciplines, and suddenly I'm dying. I looked into the mirror and I'm dying. This isn't a disorder. It was not supposed to be a disorder, but I can't breathe anymore. And I definitely can't eat anymore. Words like fellowship and community throw me into a panic because anxiety creeps into every place where I might get offered food. So I pull out excuses like I'm not hungry, or I just ate, or that food will make me feel sick. Because it will. I will make me sick. I've developed a food intolerance, not to anything specific, but just to everything in general. So now I look into the mirror and I still can't find beauty. And people comment on my figure, but all I see is anxiety and depression in the bags under my eyes, in the protrusion of my ribs. It's not beautiful. Dying is not beautiful. Starving is not beautiful. It's not a disorder. It's not, but well, maybe I need help. No. If I lose a little more, I'll be okay. Just a couple more pounds and then I can eat again. If I starve myself all day, then when we hang out, I'll be okay. If I dig my nails further into my arm, I can silence the anxiety. I'm okay. This is normal. I'm okay. I don't have a disorder. I fit into that dress I bought last month. It was 4 sizes too small, but even that goal is too big for me, for my mind. Water and vegetables, just enough protein to survive, just enough food so that I can exercise and not pass out. I'm not even a size small yet. Back to the mirror, I'm dying. I used to hate the mirror because it told me I was fat. Now I hate it because it tells me something else. I'm dying. But this isn't a disorder. This is normal. I thought I could control it. I thought if I listened to the voice, I could attain the image it promised, but the enemy came for me, my mind, and I knew I was going to die. Alone on the battlefield with monsters of every kind, cheering, screaming, delighting in my defeat, I never even realized they were planning an assault on me. I wasn't ever supposed to fall, but I had no energy left, no food to give me strength. I was dead. And as enemy lines inched closer, I remembered back to my younger days, when he would continuously save me, when even the temptation of worldly beauty couldn't bribe away my loyalty from him. I knelt there in my defeat, broken and so hungry, frantically searching for him. Jesus. I knew he must be there, and as my eyes began to look beyond the war, I saw him, standing at the battle's edge, a look of peace on his face. Somehow breath filled my lungs, and with strength not my own, I began to pray. Jesus, help me. I don't even care if I'm skinny anymore. I need you to come fill my void. Jesus, please save me. I just surrendered it all. I got down on my knees, my forehead dripping with oil, the prayers of my friends echoing in the background, the bread of communion filling my belly. The Spirit of God began extracting all the poison like a scene from Venom. Threatening black liquid began to leave my body. And it hurt, like the voice was leaving and trying to kill me in the process, as claws of insecurity were forced off of my vocal cords and out through my throat and nose. It felt like dying. I died to myself. It was the most painful, ugly, and disgusting moment of my life. For hours, I choked up the lies I had believed for so long as I let Jesus rid me of anorexia and insecurity. Fully exposed, the enemy was forced to go from my mind and flee from my life. Finally, there was room for truth. There was space for healing. I looked into the mirror. Makeup smeared all over my face, tears and snot mixed with sweat dripping from my head, barely having enough strength to stand. I looked into the mirror, And for the first time in my life, my reflection held beauty. My reflection showed me victory as the truth of who I am as a child of God washed over me. Exhausted, I dropped to the ground again, and the enemy came back for the kill. But before one weapon could even come against me, brilliant light sprayed across enemy lines, and I caught a glimpse of him standing over me. King Jesus, surrounded by the enemy, he placed a crown of victory on my brow. So now I'm still here, on my knees, surrendered, because it's not a disorder, it's a war. But I don't fight it alone anymore. We have the victory.